how to keep Amazon PPC performance under control, manage the advertising budgets better, and save your own time? Amazon PPC automation might be the answer. Our guest Nella from Olsam goes step by step through the 5 most important types of PPC automatization in order to feed the right data to the software. You will also hear tips on how you can better use automated bidding, budget automatization, target harvesting, target negation, and inventory level based optimization.
Hi Nella, I'm really happy to have you here today with me to educate Amazon sellers about PPC and more specifically about PPC automation. So before we go into the topic, could you first introduce yourself and also introduce what Olsam does?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. My name is Nella. I'm the head of Amazon PPC at Olsam. Olsam is an Amazon aggregator. We buy e-commerce businesses and turbocharge them to bring them to the next level. We are one of the few aggregators in the space that are still acquiring. And in fact, we have recently acquired Market Fleet, a US-based aggregator, and will continue to grow our portfolio with amazing brands.
Very good. So I know you have some slides for us as well to better go into the topic of PPC optimization. So now it's a good time to share your screen and we can see what you have for us.
Absolutely. So as you mentioned today, I want to walk you through Amazon PPC automation. The objective of this presentation is to make Amazon PPC automation simple, especially for the people that are just approaching automation for the first time. So first of all, I'd like to cover what is Amazon PPC automation. In simple words, it is a technology-based tool that helps with campaigns management and campaigns optimization. Why is Amazon PPC automation important? There are 5 main reasons for that. The first reason is that obviously it saves time. By automating your PPC action, you will reduce your manual input, you will free up time for strategy and for other important tasks. Second main is it saves budget. So some tools give you the possibility to set a monthly budget and automate it based on that. If you're close to running out of budget, for example, the tool will reduce the bids for you and increase them when you enter the following month. Third very important point is that it keeps your performance under control. And I think that's the main reason for us to optimize campaigns. This goes without saying. The main metric that you want to set up in terms of automation is a target ACoS, because that gives you an overview of how efficient your campaigns are. You can obviously update the ACoS as your objectives change. So for example, you can increase the target ACoS if you want to increase sales volume and decrease it if you see that your spend is running a little bit wildly. The fourth reason for using Amazon PPC automation is that it helps you to push top line. So as I mentioned in the previous point, if you have a very high sales volume target that you want to reach, and you're seeing that your spend is not going as you want, your campaigns are not delivering as much as you would like, you can set up a higher target ACoS and let your campaigns capture more traffic to drive higher sales volume. And finally, a fifth and very important reason is that no campaign will be left out. So usually when you optimize campaigns and you don't have a lot of time to do that, you look at the campaigns that have higher ACoS and you open those and optimize them. And you look at the campaigns that have very efficient ACoS and you go into those campaigns and push spend more. But there's always those campaigns in the middle that you never look at if you don't have time. What automation helps you with in that case is that you can push those targets that have 0 impressions or 0 clicks, and it allows you to test more opportunities, to test and find more opportunities. So moving on to the next slide, there are 5 types of automation available. There are many more, but in this presentation, I'm going to show you the 5 most important ones. You have automated bidding, budget automation, target harvesting, target negation, and inventory level-based optimization. I want to explain these in more detail, starting from the automated bidding. So bidding automation gives you the possibility to bid up or down based on your target's performance. Different tools give you different automation possibility, but I tend to recommend simple AI-based optimization that runs based on a target ACOS you provide. But what is the best way of setting up the right target ACOS? There are two ways. If you have historical data, my advice is to keep the ACOS to the average level for the past 3 months, plus adding a 30% up. The reason why I would set up an ACOS that is 30% higher than the historical one is that you always want to give the tool the necessary room to explore and find new opportunities without running away with spend. If you don't have historical data instead, there is a very simple way to calculate target ACOS. You will need the following data: the sales target, your average CPC, your average selling price, and your conversion rate. With these, you will be able to calculate the number of units, the number of clicks, the target spend, and the target ACOS. And I have an example in the next slide to show you this in more detail. So this is a simple tab that I created. So as I mentioned, if you have 30 days sales target, your average CPC, your average selling price, and your conversion rate, you will be able to calculate units, clicks, spend, and finally the ACOS. In the description, you will find a link to a sheet that you will be able to duplicate or copy. You can just insert these data here, and it will automatically calculate the ACOS for you. Moving on to the next slide, I want to reiterate what I said above. If you don't have historical data, if you have historical data, that's great. You can use the available ACOS for the 3 previous months and add 30% up to that ACOS, and you will give the chance to the tool to explore for new opportunities. If you don't have historical data, please use the table above, and you will be able to easily calculate the target ACOS. And of course, you will have the chance to adjust it as you see how performance is going. A very, very important point that I would like to make when choosing a tool, make sure that you choose one that allows you to override changes manually, as this will give you more control over your performance. Always remember that the landscape, especially the Amazon advertising landscape, is constantly changing, and the automation is still not at the right level to make human-like decisions. So the AI doesn't always have context of what is happening. Moving on to the next slide, I want to talk about budget automation and how it works. So this is a fairly simple one. If you have a target budget, some tools allow you to insert it for each month and monitor it closely to increase or decrease spend accordingly. But there is also a budget automation that is based on performance. Some tools allow you to increase the available campaign budgets only if ROAS is at a level that you deem good for your products. So for example, if you're about to run out of budget, but you set up this rule that tells the tool, okay, if I'm at a 6 ROAS, I want to increase the budget by 30%. This is something that some tools can do for you. There is actually, on this budget related rule, there is something going on Amazon that they have launched recently. They actually allow you to increase budget when you are at a performance that you deem good. The only difference is that with the tool, you can do that every time you're about to run out of budget. But with the Amazon on platform rule, Amazon only checks this once a day. So you still risk of running out of budget throughout the day. It's still a good step from Amazon to try and implement some automation on their platform. The next type of automation is target harvesting. So why is it important to automate harvesting for targets? At the moment, we have a very, very long process of doing that. You will have to go through the hassle of downloading search term reports, skimming through them, and pick the targets that have performed well and add them to the relevant campaigns. This is something that would take some time, especially if you have a very broad catalog. Luckily enough, the Amazon PPC automation tools let you set up your own harvesting rules. What would be a simple way to do that? So to set up your harvesting automation, the first thing you have to do is to select a good look back window. I usually go with 30 days for greater accuracy, as the attribution in 30 days will have given time to all the orders to come in, so that the AI can make a more informed decision. And in 30 days, not much will have changed. If you put, for example, a look back window of 5 to 6 months, there might be seasonality changes affecting the performance of the product. So you want to keep the look back window relatively short. Then step number 2 is to set up harvesting parameters. And the approach below is a very simplified one. You want to harvest targets that have generated a decent amount of orders. And to be on the safe side, I always set up rules that harvest for targets that have generated more than 3 orders. That way, we are actually sure that that is a good target. And it's not just a conversion that happened by accident. Then in the calculation that I spoke to you about in the previous slides, where you calculate your target ACOS, as a result of that calculation, you will also have the number of clicks that are necessary for a conversion. So use a number of clicks that is equal or below that number as a parameter. You obviously don't want a target that takes 3 times the amount of clicks, hence 3 times the spend to generate a conversion. And finally, set up an ACOS that is equal or lower than the target ACOS. Again, you don't want a target that generates an order at a 70% ACOS, for example. So I mentioned also here, as a reminder, to use the pre-filled sheet in the description to get your parameters right. Moving on to the next slide. This is an example of a good flow to set up harvesting automation. So when harvesting for keywords, you want to take targets from the automatic campaign and feed them into the broad campaign and into the exact campaign. And then as a second rule for keywords, you also want to harvest for targets from the broad campaign to the exact campaign. This is the final destination for keyword targets. And when harvesting for raisins instead, you can harvest from 2 types of campaigns. The category targeting campaign, which we use as a sort of automated campaign for ASINs. And then you can harvest from the automatic campaign that also gives you ASINs that have performed for your products. Both of these feed into the product targeting campaign. Also, we can also call it ASIN targeting campaign. So these are the ideal flows that you want to set up when harvesting for targets. The next automation rule is target negation. So target negation is a very complicated one because you have both benefits and risks. The benefits of this are that you don't need to skim search term reports manually because the tool would do that for you. And it also eliminates overspending targets. So obviously the automation, if it finds a target that has spent £500 without generating any order, that would be a good candidate to negate. But there are also risks. So it might negate keyword in the source campaign without proof of conversion in the new campaign. So for example, I have a keyword handbag. I have generated 5 conversions in the source campaign. I want to move it to the new campaign. And when doing that, the automation automatically negates it in the source campaign without waiting for it to convert in the new campaign. And that's a risk, because we might actually lose conversions for that keyword in the source campaign. The second risk is that obviously if the look back window is too short, you might negate a target before the conversion is attributed. So moving on to the next slide. I am a huge fan of negating targets manually because of the reasons mentioned above. If you have the time, maybe once every 2 weeks, to go through search term reports and negate targets manually, then definitely go for it and cover extended periods of time. If you don't have the time to negate manually, then set up automation rules to negate targets, but make sure that you take the time to check what has been added as a negative regularly, so you can spot targets that might have been negated by mistake and bring them back to life. The next type of optimization that I want to cover is the inventory level based optimization. So when it comes to this, obviously the last thing that we want is to run out of stock on our most important lines, as running out of stock really doesn't help our product ranking. Some tools can help us keep under control sell-through rate by monitoring inventory level and adjusting spend accordingly. As a very well-oiled machines, these tools will take into account not only the target ACOS that you have provided as a parameter, but also the likelihood to run out of stock. If that is likely to happen, the tool will reduce spend on all of the campaigns that contain the affected ASIN, and they will make sure that you have enough stock coverage until the next shipment reaches the warehouse. And this is actually a very, very useful feature that not many tools have, but if you can find a tool that has this feature, is really vital. You obviously don't always have the time to check inventory levels every single day. This will help you with that. And there's one point that I covered shortly, and it's the Amazon on-platform optimization rules that are available. So I mentioned previously that Amazon has implemented their own budget-based automation, and it's obviously in need of improvement so far. But they have also set up their very own on-platform automation, their rule-based bidding. How does that work? First of all, you can provide a target ROAS as a guardrail, and Amazon will change the bids for you based on that in an effort to achieve higher sales volume at the provided target ROAS. Unfortunately, this automation is only being tested for sponsored products campaigns that have 30 days of history, and the target performance is not guaranteed. In fact, Amazon states that the previous bidding strategy will be reinstated after 21 days if the platform's effort do not bring the desired results. So it's something that they are testing. It's not perfect, but this on-platform rule and constant updates on the Amazon platform make me think that many sellers will be able to use the on-platform automation without additional tools very soon, which is going to be obviously interesting in terms of because you're going to be able to manage your own campaigns with something that you already have available. But it's obviously not something that gives you the level of sophistication you might need when you're managing bigger brands and in terms of achieving particular strategies. but it's still a very good first attempt. At Olsam, we have trialed the rule-based bidding automation, and so far it has brought really good results, which is great to see. And in conclusion, I believe that although automation is your best friend, can be your best friend, you have to make sure that you help it achieve your goals. So you must feed the right data into your automation. Some tools work on previous performance, and that works well 90% of the times. But if in doubt, tell the tool what your performance should be. Then, as much as we would like to be free from optimizing our campaigns, remember that a regular manual check-in is necessary sometimes. The optimization tools are not always accurate when making a decision, and sometimes get lost in the performance data they receive without context, as I mentioned previously. For instance, if your product is blocked by Amazon for a day or two and sales drop because of that, the tool would probably think that the product performance has deteriorated for some reason, but without the context you will have, but without the context that you would have by looking into what happened. So ideally, you would want to help your automation succeed. And the final recommendation is that you should make sure that you update your parameters regularly. For example, if you have a new competitor that has entered the market and is stealing your product's placement, you will have to be more aggressive. The automation may pick up on that, but a little help goes a long way. So you can just tell the automation, this has changed, and this is the new target acres that we have to achieve. So thank you for staying with me so far. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, thank you so much, Nella, for this overview and also introducing us different ways of automation. So I wanted to ask from you as a first thing, what tools are you using to implement these automation and things? Because as you mentioned, on Amazon platform, there aren't many options yet to implement those.
Sure. At the moment, we are currently using Perpetua. Perpetua is a software that contains all you need in terms of optimization, as explained previously, and it gives you ease of use and added value in terms of not only Amazon advertising automation, but also DSP and some off Amazon very interesting integration options. Yeah, that is what we currently use at the moment. But as I mentioned, we are testing the on Amazon rule-based optimization. It's not something that we want to use at the moment, but it's still good to test them out to let people know how we're doing and how we're using it.
Well, you're working with PPC a lot and all the time. So is there any feature that you currently feel that is kind of missing from the automation-based softwares?
Yeah. I think this ties in with the negation automation that I was talking about before. So targeting negation currently happens in a way that is too simplified. It might lead you to lose very, very good targets due to attribution delays. I'd love to see a negation option that allows you to select after how many orders generated in the new campaigns you want to post the target in the old campaign. For example, if I harvest handbag from the source campaign, I want this keyword to convert 4 times at a 20% ACOS in the new campaign before negating it. If and when they develop this feature, I will be extremely happy.
Okay, very good. So hopefully software developers are watching us now as well and can get this feedback from you, and then hopefully add that feature in the future. So a lot of Amazon sellers have been lately talking about Dayparting regarding PPC. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think that Dayparting sometimes has a negative connotation because it has been seen as from many as a mean to control spend when you cannot achieve efficiency. I see it instead as a huge opportunity. For example, with Perpetua, we have access to a very, very good share of voice view that tells you what competitors are spending or gaining good placements at what time of the day and during what days of the week. With the intraday parting they provide, we are able to create a schedule that allows us to steal market share when competitors are not spending and to be more aggressive when they are, to gain placements in both instances. And it's a great way to create opportunities, in my opinion, but you obviously have to have the right tools to do so. I'm not a fan of using it to reduce spend. I see that as an excuse to cut spend when you can't be efficient. So I think Dayparting is amazing if you use it the right way.
Good. So Nella, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your insights. So before we go, could you once more explain what Olsam is and what kind of sellers should contact you if they're interested in selling their business?
Absolutely. As I mentioned earlier, Olsam is an Amazon aggregator. We buy e-commerce businesses and make sure that they reach their next level, whether it comes to increased efficiency, expanding into new geographies, thanks to our multilingual team. And we would be happy to hear from any business with a revenue that's higher than 3 million. If you're looking to sell your business, please reach out to myself or to Olsam through our website. We would be happy to hear from you and to assist you.
Okay, so thanks again, and we wish good luck in managing PPC of all of the brands you have.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and if you would like to have more information about Olsam, the Amazon brand acquirer, check the link below and talk to them if you consider to sell your Amazon business. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to leave them in the comment, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe buttons below this video to get updates on future videos we upload. Finally, I invite you to watch other video interview with Olsam where they explain the key steps to better prepare for an exit of your Amazon business.